Okay, Seth here with the Ranch Athletics, and we got an email from Manuel, actually in Germany. So he was asking two things, and we're gonna go ahead and cover this. First thing is how to fix hip flexion during squats, deadlifts, different movements. And then the other one, he was asking if when we go through our bracing position, we make sure we squeeze the butt to set the pelvis, brace the abs to maintain that position. So his question was, when I go to deadlift or go to squat, do I keep that tension in the butt? So I'm gonna cover that one first because it's gonna go into the hip flexion part. So that setup is we squeeze our butt, that shifts our pelvis. If I'm overextended and I squeeze it, it brings it back to a good position. That's the butt's function and job, or one of them. Set the pelvis in a good position, then I brace the abs. If I'm locked in tight here, I can't move. So yes, you're gonna have to release tension in it. The big priority is the tissues we move first are going to load maximally. So if I squat knees forward, I'm loading up the knees mostly. If I go backwards like I want to, I'm going to load up the hips. So you're going to set your position, get super tight, but then you're going to have to release some of that tension to sit back and down. I'll go down. And a good demonstration of that would be over here. If I set up in the glute hand raise here, and we just do the like a back extension or a glute raise, right? I come down. I'm here, I squeeze my butt, I'm in a good position. To go down, I have to release it, and it's gonna relax, and I squeeze it to set that position again. Relax it, come up. I don't have to let go full tension. I don't go soft and round down, but I release some of that tension and come back through. So, that's about the glutes. That's what we wanna do. We set the position with it, get it nice and tight, but we need to relax it to actually move. And then depending on the load or anything like that, is how much tension we need to keep in that. If I'm going for a max pull, I can't just go soft or anything like that. Next question is how to fix hip flexion. So I'm going to take you through a few things that I do and I like to use. First thing is, we want to make sure that joint capsule is working nice and well. So we're going to come down. And one other thing, so hip flexion, for people that don't know, is anything in front is flexion, and then we need to also externally rotate that joint to wind it up. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and set down here, set that knee on the ground. I'm going to take my other leg and do this from the side, kind of tuck this under so I have more external rotation. I'm going to try and drive my femur through the back of that socket. I'm going to oscillate around here, work on this. I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 minutes there. Let me show you from the other side. So again, wind this up with that other leg. You can send that back if you want to after you set that position. Stay nice and braced. I don't want to round down. Whenever we're doing mobility, we need to practice the same as we do when we're squatting or moving or anything else like that. So 2 minutes here, and then what I'll do is actually add some of that flexion. So I'm going to drop back down, try and work on this. I'll touch and go. I'll go into different positions, hunt around, play with it. I can bring my chest to the side, whatever I need to do. And you'll work on getting this a little bit deeper. And then since he asked specifically about squatting, we'll just retest our squat, make sure it looks good, if that's improving. If it doesn't help, move on to something else. Next thing I'm going to do, break this down over here. So you guys should go to the squat test. And what I like to do is use a post, find your squat rack, whatever else, set your position, drop that down, pull yourself into that position, really work on it. If you have a difficulty, or you're having difficulty controlling that spine, what you can do is drop it to one leg. We'll work on this position with one side, or we'll go up on the wall here. From here, my back's nice and set. I don't have to worry about it, and I can start here, work on this position, contract and relax, work on getting deeper into that position. If I don't have that much flexion in the hip, simply just start farther away, kind of work on it here until you get a little bit lower, coming closer. You can work on side to side, external and internal rotation of the legs. Any type of movement, we're really just looking to, if we're sitting all day or we're in these positions all day, you're just trying to get out of that, and body weight movements are the way to go. You're really not going to trash the body. and you're able to start creating those positions you're looking for. And the other one I like to go to is a seated good morning. So if I go ahead and box squat down, I'm here, stay nice and braced, and I'm just going to hinge forward. So I'm moving through the torso instead of bringing the knee up, but if you look at it, it's the same position. I've got that flexion here. So I'm going to work forward, stay nice and braced, come up, work on going deeper. I can push the legs out, contract and relax, sink deeper. As you progress with this, just sit on a lower and lower box. So eventually, I'm down, way down here, and I can work on that good morning from a seated position. So that's how I like to fix hip flexion. And then actually one other piece that I should talk about is when I'm trying to fix flexion, I like to look at extension also. So a lot of times you've got the hip flexors. This is the biggest thing I actually see. Is the hip flexors are tight and they're bound in this position. They're not used to coming up higher. I should have about this 120 degrees of range of motion here without dumping forward. So what happens if I'm pulled tight is, I go ahead and pull this here. A lot of people start in this position, and then when I go down to squat, my butt tucks under. I won't be able to stop that or control that because I started in a bad position. So that's why we brace, but you also want to open that up. So you've got a simple stretch like this. Come into here, squeeze your butt, brace your abs. I like to do this, but I like to move in and out of it. Work on the knee flexion and also the hip extension by pressing forward, add the arm up overhead, tie all this in, work on this, and there you go. That's how I like to fix the hip flexion for squatting, deadlifting, or anything else.